I will remind everyone that the number one thing we can all do to keep ourselves safe, to keep our loved ones safe, is make sure that you're up to date in your COVID vaccinations. And while you're at it, get your flu shot. There's a lot of people getting sick this year, perhaps because we all were so diligent about being safe over the past couple of years and wearing masks. That we need to step up again and make sure that everyone's doing everything they can to keep their families, their loved ones, and their communities safe by getting vaccinated and making sure they're up to date. I will remind everyone that the number...
I will remind everyone. I will remind everyone. What are we going to remind us of here?
I will remind everyone that the number one thing we can all do to keep ourselves safe, to keep our loved ones safe, is make sure that you're up to date in your COVID vaccinations.
Teacher,
while you're at it.
Teacher, how does me getting vaccinated keep my loved ones safe if I can still contract, carry, and transmit the virus? If the argument is at best now, and I'm just trying to follow the science, your science, that the best the therapeutic jibby jab will do is reduce the severity of symptoms for me, how does me getting it then keep anybody else safe? There's the old expression attributed to Einstein. We're done. I think we've all puked enough in our mouths. There's the old expression that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Einstein, going picky, picky, picky. There's an old rhyme from when we were kids. It's insanity. I mean, it's absolute insanity. It's madness. It's enraging. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The number one thing you can do to keep yourself and others around you safe is to go get vaccinated. And now you're letting everybody out there who's already reluctant for booster number 7. Now you're saying you're going to couple these things with the flu shot. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen to flu shot uptake. And by the way, what are the stats? Like in an ordinary season, the effectiveness of the flu shot because of the mutations of the flu virus are like 40 to 70% if you're lucky. Oh, the number one thing I will remind everybody, like he's a dictator, like he's my parent. And I have to weigh my responses because I appreciate I have never hated I have never had disdain for another human the way I have disdain for Justin Trudeau. Not hatred. I should walk that back a little bit. It's disdain. It might be hatred. And you have to make sure that does not consume you as an entity, because hatred is a black hole. You get too close to hatred and it pulls everything in. But I listen to that and I have the deepest contempt imaginable for that man. And then I wanted to think of a nice hashtag like just insanity or just incredulous. Just incredulous. That incredulous doesn't mean what I think it means. Salty balls, you're damn right I'm blah, blah, blah rambling, unless you're talking about Justin Trudeau. Salty balls. What kind of name is that anyhow? That's the intro. The rant is over. Good evening, everybody. It's the Sunday night with Viva and Barnes on a Monday because Barnes was in transit yesterday and we had to put the stream to tonight. But yesterday was one heck of a... Oh my goodness, they had the Twitter thing at 5 o'clock that I was supposed to listen to, but I forgot. We're going to go over some stuff tonight, but until Barnes gets here, intro rant over. Standard disclaimers. Thank you very much. Right on time. 8249641005 10 pounds says breaking. UFO hunters descend on the Viva residence after the discovery of multiple unidentified fecal object. Winston has approached for interview but declined to comment. Winston, get up here. Get up here. Get up here. Oh yeah. People wanted, no Winston, no peace last time. Winston is here, alive and well. It is a dystopian world in Canada. Sad is not the word. And we're going to get into the first article of the day. Winston is here, alive and well. Good. You're done. Standard disclaimers. No medical advice, no legal advice, no election fortification advice. For all those super chats, Rumble rants, thank you very much for the support. Bear in mind, YouTube takes 30% of Rumble super chats If you don't want to support YouTube in that way, we are simultaneously streaming on Rumble. Link is in the pinned comment in the chat. Rumble has these things called Rumble rants. They take 20%. So better for the creator, better to support a platform that supports free speech. What else? That's pretty much it. Here's the link to Rumble. We'll be going over there in a bit. And get it. You may have noticed in the beginning, it says this video contains a paid promotion. Let me make sure that it actually says that. Because if it doesn't, it does. I know that I did it. Let me just make sure, because I'm neurotic and I want to be more kosher than the Pope, as they say. It does contain a paid promotion, and that is one of my sponsors, EnviroCleanse Air Purification Systems. They have a special for Christmas. Let me just pull this up here. Hold on just 1 second. It is a filter that I use myself at home. It's something that has been working. I think is phenomenal. I had filters back in Canada. They were not the same. EnviroCleanse. I'll make sure that I read the Christmas special. If you could give one holiday gift that could help the entire family avoid seasonal colds, flu, and even COVID. These are not my words. This is patented technology of a company that is used by the Department of Defense in submarines in 300,000 schools across America. That would be the best gift ever. EnviroCleanse is the new science of home air purification, and they've just announced an unbelievable holiday sale you can't afford to miss. Here's what sold me on Enviro. Well, I didn't need to be sold on EnviroCleanse. Air circulation in my home, from room to room, family member to family member, including holiday guests, is a breeding ground for viruses and germs. It's how colds, flu, and COVID take down the entire family. You know, it's also a good way to protect yourself. Healthy air, exercise, vitamin C. No medical advice. Vitamin D. Get outside, get exercise. 300,000 of those units in schools across America. Department of Defense uses it in submarines. Patented technology in the neutralizing filter. It's got a big fat HEPA filter. It's whisper quiet. I haven't brought up the window to show what it looks like. Hold on 1 second here. I'll bring it right here. I've shown it to you many times. That's what it looks like. It's a big, beautiful white box. You don't hear it. It cleans the air. Particulate matter, it cleans out volatile organic compounds, smells, germs, etc. It's $699. It's not cheap. But if you use promo code RUMBLE for the holiday season, you get 10% off a free air quality monitor. And it's a damn good unit, period. For anybody who knows that they need one, you know that you need one. For those who don't know that you need one, to the extent you can get it, everybody needs one. Clean air is the most important thing on earth. And there's 0% financing if you fit the criteria, whatever. ekpure.com. Echo Kilo Pure.com. It brings you to the website. Promo code RUMBLE for the holiday season special. Is there a Mrs. Shittenhouse? Asks Time Magazine before affirming Winston as one of the world's top most eligible bachelors. There is a Mrs. Pudge Shittenhouse, and she's literally the Shittenhouse because she shits in the house. I'll tell you what. Okay, that's the house cleaning, pun intended. Now let's get to just insanity. Just insanity. There was a recent poll out of Canada that shows that 2/3 of Canadians polled support or supported the invocation of the Emergencies Act. Yeah, you have to. It's amazing. 2/3 of the people polled. If anybody hasn't seen the sidebar that I did with Barnes and Richard Barris, I remember exactly where I was when I did it. I was in a car in New Brunswick on a place called Deer Island, doing it at night, getting destroyed by mosquitoes, doing a live stream on the road. And we talked about pollsters. We talked about what a scam of an industry it is, not naming any names in particular. But my goodness, it gives you the headlines that you need so that you can then, the media can then promote the narrative they want to promote. This is from CTV News, which is the narrative is 2/3 of Canadians support the invocation of the Emergencies Act. CTV News is citing a poll that was mandated by the Globe and Mail, who mandated Nanos. Is it called Nanos? Nanos polling. Most Canadians back Invocation of Emergencies Act during freedom protest convoys. Nanos, mandated by Globe and Mail. And they just cross-reference each other. You got another one here. This one, CP24. Poll, majority of Canadians support use of Emergencies Act. I wanted to get the actual article because the actual article, there's some interesting backstory to this as well. Is this it? No, this is another. It's very interesting also, by the way. Back in February, there was another poll. This one was conducted by I don't know if the National Post conducted whichever entity it was that did that poll. Back in February, 2/3 of Canadians support use of Emergencies Act and want Freedom Convoy cleared out. 2/3 back in February, 2/3 back now. Who did the poll back then? Oh, back then it was 1,500 Canadians were polled, and 2/3 said they want the convoy to end. Now, as per the spin of the day, it's 2/3 of 1,025 Canadians polled. Here's the article, actually. We can do this. Majority of Canadians favor Emergencies Act invocation polls. Let me bring this up so that we can read this. And then, I mean, we don't need to go too far into it. They got the headline. Federal government's decision to invoke the Emergencies Act to end last winter's protracted anti-government, anti-vaccine mandate protests is largely supported by Canadians, according to a new poll. We're not telling you what to think. We've done a poll by Nanos. And listen to how they frame it now, because it was allegedly 2/3, 66% supported invoking the Emergencies Act. My left butt cheek, I believe that, but whatever. It was 2/3 back in February. They've got to frame it now as though after 6 weeks of inquiry, Canadians have been convinced at the legitimacy of the invocation of the Act. After 6 weeks of intense scrutiny at the inquiry into the invocation of the Act, the government appears to have emerged unscathed, according to a Nanos research poll for the Globe and Mail. For the Globe and Mail, I don't know what portion of the $600 million bailout for print media the Globe and Mail got. I'm not sure if they have any print media. I'm not sure how many millions of dollars the Globe and Mail got for COVID advertising throughout COVID. I'm not sure how many millions of dollars the Globe and Mail got for other government ads. I don't know in what way the government has buttered up the buns of the Globe and Mail, but the Globe and Mail, which if it hasn't received direct bailout from the $600 million for print media, and I don't know if they have or have not, something of a nuanced point to research. I don't know how much they've received for COVID ads coming from provincial and federal level governments. I don't know how much they've received for government ads in general. They mandated Nanos, and Nanos came to this conclusion. But the poll also hints at some political risk for Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who publicly supported the protests. 66% of respondents either supported or somewhat supported the government's precedent-setting decision to invoke the Emergencies Act in response to the convoy protests that gridlocked the capital and jammed some border crossings. 30 foot, whatever. Where does it say how many people did it? Here we go. The poll had 1,025 respondents. The Globe does not report the margin of error for online polls. An online poll of 1,025 respondents to allow them to come to the conclusion that 2/3 of Canadians support it. We'll get to my punchline in a second. I was just looking this up. Let me just make sure that we're looking at the same thing here. And if it sounds incredible to you and to me, well, apparently it was equally incredible to the people replying to the Globe and Mail article, because as you can see here, Andrew Coyne posts, the replies to this are out of this world. Let's go see what the replies were. Majority of Liberals favor the emergency. Okay, polls fixed. You're welcome. There you go. Majority across the country. Wow. Okay. Well, govern yourselves accordingly based on profile. Majority of people in Ottawa, and then the person is spamming the chat with tea leaf. Okay, well, there we go. We got one thing. All this tells me is a majority of Canadians have been misled by the federal government and its media. CTV poll conducted showed that 3/4 of Canadians didn't support it, because there was an online poll by CTV Media that did show that 3/4 didn't support it, and they pulled that bloody poll. They pulled the poll. I don't believe any of these polls. Oh my goodness. It's almost like the people are speaking and your bullcrap poll is getting called out on the internet, Andrew Coyne. So we don't need to go further unless we can find a screen grab. Oh, here we go. No. Someone can find the screen grab. Bullshit amplifier detector. Bullshit. So more and more BS. Nice profile pic. Absolute nonsense. Defund the Globe and Mail. Not reading it. But that, okay. So those are the types of messages, replies that Andrew Coyne is lamenting. Who's Andrew Coyne, you might ask? Andrew Coyne, explorer, founder of La Chine, seigneur of Cataratui. I don't know what any of this means. Discoverer of the mouths of the Mississippi. Did he change his profile? His profile picture, his profile earlier said something about him being involved with the Globe and Mail. But whatever, he's a columnist at the Globe and Mail. Maybe it didn't say it before. Maybe it was on Wikipedia. I looked up his profile. I'm just replying to it. I say, maybe that should tell you something. A government-subsidized media conducting a poll of 1,025 to justify the government's constitutional overreach. But yeah, the replies are the problem, not your poll. He is Principal Skinner. Andrew Coyne, columnist for the Globe and Mail, is Principal Skinner. Is it me that's out of touch? No, it's the kids. It's the kids. I just found something very funny. I just looked up his early life and education. Coyne was born in Ottawa, Ontario, the son of Meredith Cameron, née Stobie, and James Elliott Coyne, who was governor of the Bank of Canada from 1955 to 1961. His paternal great-grandfather was a historian and lawyer, James Henry Coyne. His sister is actress Susan Coyne. He is also the cousin of a constitutional lawyer, Deborah Coyne, who is the mother of Pierre Trudeau's youngest child. This strikes me as a little bit like from Spaceballs, like your mother's brothers, roommates, nephews, tennis coaches, repairman. He is also the cousin of Coyne, who is the mother of Pierre Trudeau's youngest child. Very interesting family history, which might, I don't know, it might explain a few things, but did you pull an early life? Oh, no, not for that reason, if that's what you were thinking of. I'll tell you the secrets of the internet. Some people go look up early life to determine other things that I was not interested in. I just wanted to know if he was a liberal, if he was politically connected. And it seems like the answer, as far as anybody can tell, is yes and yes on both issues. But I had no idea how politically connected. Does that make him that makes him the uncle of one of Pierre Trudeau's children? Interesting. Nobody believes your polls, Andrew Coyne. The jig is up. The jig is up. €5. What happened to the Carl Benjamin sidebar? Tomorrow at 4:00 Eastern, 9:00 British time, the time of Britannia. So here we go. And we got Mike at Freedom Honey. Viva, please reach out to Mark Mink, host of the Tango Romeo podcast. He's the vet spearheading the investigation into vets being offered. Absolutely. Screen grab that and done and done. So that's the poll. Let me just make sure that Barnes is email me the StreamYard link. Did I not send Barnes the StreamYard link? Oh, I'm such an idiot. People, hold on 1 second. I think I did, but it doesn't. Okay, Barnes is apparently waiting for the StreamYard link. Apparently, ich bin ein Moron. Enter studio. Give me 2 seconds, peeps. Just going to make sure that Barnes can get in. Coming. Enter studio. Now there's going to be 2 of me in the studio. This is going to get very confusing. Copy, close, leave. Okay, I'm still here. Going to go email Barnes. Robert. Link. Et voila. Send. I would explain why Robert's not yet in the house. Do a hush hush on McKinsey. Oh, you should do a hush hush collab on the McKinsey firm. There was an article on Radio-Canada about them being everywhere inside Hydro-Quebec. There are certain things that I might not be able to do hush-hushes on, because many of you out there may not have known or might sometimes forget. I was an active litigator in Montreal and Quebec and Canada. And I always err on the side of absolute neurotic cautiousness and don't come close to breaching any problems. So yeah, there's some things that I might have come across certain things in my practice that might preclude certain types of deep dives onto well-known Canadian entities. There are Rumble rants, which I've been told to read. Barbisa Ariane. The truth matters more than your feelings, your opinions, and your preferences. In fact, it's the only thing that matters. Fast learner, $10. Oh, by the way, Barbara Arisa, that was a $10 Rumble rant. Fast learner, $10 Rumble rant. CPAC also had a poll that was 90% against the EA, and it had thousands of responses. Do they forget that it gives you the results when you vote? $5 Rumble rant from Fake Name 3. Want to explain why channels with 10 live viewers and the DVR for Der Show are on the front page, but not you with 6,000, or Ricada, when he has had over 8,000 for an hour, up anywhere on the page? I don't know. I wouldn't attribute any nefarious purposes to that fake name. I think that maybe they want to try to give everyone exposure. I don't know. I don't have that information, but I would not assume anything nefarious. But thank you for the Rumble rants. I almost forgot the punchline. Kick in the flipping teeth. So I decided, I know there are problems with the nature of the poll. EnviroCleanse gets one more view here. I know that there's potential problems with the nature of the poll, but I decided to run my own poll, and I had a great idea. Elon, you have to make geographic preferences for polls. And some people were saying, let me break down the poll results based on a slew of demographics, geography, profile preferences like male, female, age, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how many of the plugins or how many of the things that you would input yourself can be lied about or can be determined factually. Geographic preference or geographic location, I think, is something that would be difficult to falsify. And I think it would be something that would be very easy to incorporate as a criteria for a poll. If I do a poll and I only want to poll people in Canada, it should only be, I should be able to have a little preference that says only make available to people in Canada for voting purposes. VPN might be an issue. I don't know how VPNs work. If you have a VPN and it falsely says Canada, from what I understand, there might be a way to identify VPNs, exclude them. But I did my own poll. How many views? We're at 8,962 votes thus far. Let's do our own poll. Canadians, do you support, somewhat oppose, or oppose? This was cut and paste of the question. Or oppose the government of Canada using the Emergencies Act in response to the Freedom Convoy protest. Please share for Matt. It's been shared 1,200 times and only has under 9,000 votes, which I think means people are actually taking it seriously, treating it respectfully, and not voting if they're not from Canada. I know that's an inherent flaw. 95.6% oppose. And there's no option for strongly oppose because I cut and pasted the question. Globe and Mail, Nanos, Andrew Coyne, you suspect. Okay, Barnes is in the house. Not going to keep him waiting for any longer than that. You suspect. And by the way, when I say you suspect, you're propagandists, liars. Okay, Biggie Bonds is in the house. Let's do this. Robert, sir, how goes the battle?
Good.
Okay, you had people nervous last week, and then I was thinking people were going to think something was really up when you couldn't make Sunday. What have you been up to?
Just range of stuff, a family vacation, and then a surprise birthday party for a friend, and then trying to settle a couple of cases.
Okay, what successful at settling the cases, or to the extent
probably.
Good. Well, there's no rest for the wicked, so that's that. Robert, what was the pollsters when we did the show with Barris, and we were discussing some notoriously, I say, corrupt or tainted, infiltrated pollsters in the States. Which ones, do you remember which ones were like notoriously bad for being, having been involved in scandal?
And it's depends on how you define scandal. I mean, almost all the pollsters outside of a few get a lot of revenue from either corporations or the media. and consequently, they have been consistently biased in how they phrase things. I mean, like a classic example, this is Sean Trendy, my friend who helps run the Real Clear Politics polling site that aggregates polling data across the country, pointed out this week. Some years ago, back in the 90s, they misphrased the question. They had a double negative in a question about the Holocaust. So the media ran with the story, 1 out of 5 Americans denies Holocaust exists. When they properly phrase it, it was more like 1 in 100 Americans are not sure. But they framed so that's how they really manipulate the polling more than anything else, is how they frame the question. It's what my brother taught me when we were in debate in high school. He said, he who defines the terms wins the debate. So, for example, if you're out there saying Barnes, all he would talk about is Islamofascism in the debate with Nick Fuentes, guess who won the debate, boys and girls? Now, of course, Nicky Boy was busy this week getting all kind of folks into trouble, including Kanye himself.
Robert, I was just thinking, it has been so long since we've seen the term Islamofascist in the chat, and now it's going to come back with a raging vengeance. And you know what? We're just going to go right to Rumble right now, so we don't get. We're 26 minutes in. Everybody, head over to Rumble because we're gonna talk about it. We don't want to talk about it too much, and not the purpose of it is not to make fun of Kanye. I'm still convinced about what I'm convinced about. But we're going to talk about a few things because I think it's relevant. The link to Rumble is there. Everybody, head on over and drop all the chat you want to drop there. Ending on YouTube in 3, 2, 1. Heading over to Rumble. See you all there. 2,500 people should be migrating if they're so willing. See you there.